Hello, all you freedom-loving people. The Senate designated October 14th National Charlie Kirk Day. Trump designated Antifa as a terrorist organization. A report reveals that the Soros Foundation funded groups tied to terrorism, and the Jimmy Kimmel Show has been canceled. Okay, let's get into it. Today, on the second day of his visit to the UK, President Trump bid farewell to King Charles. He called the king a great king and a great gentleman. President Trump then headed to his meeting with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer at Chequers. They began with a bilateral meeting, then they moved on to a business reception. During their meeting with business executives, both leaders announced a new partnership worth £250 billion, about $340 billion in technology, nuclear power, and private equity. President Trump praised the partnership, and he called it a historic agreement.
We're taking the next logical step with a historic agreement on science and technology partnerships, and this will create new government, academic, and private sector cooperation in areas such as AI, which is taking over the world. I'm looking at you guys. You're taking over the world, Jensen. I don't know what you're doing here. I hope you're right. All I can say is we both hope you're right. But it's pretty amazing. Quantum computing, fusion, 6G, and civil nuclear energy, and align our nations through the approach of centered deregulation and innovation. And we're going to have a lot of deregulation and a tremendous amount of innovation. It's just happening. But this new accord is already helping spur a massive wave of private sector deals worth over $350 billion alone, headlined by a $136 billion from Blackstone. That's very nice. Steve, thank you. That's why you have that location, I think. It's considered the best seat all the year. Yours is pretty good too, Jensen. That's good. That's great, Steve. You know what you're doing.
Blackstone, which is a U.S. private equity giant, has committed to investing $136 billion into U.K. assets over the next decade. Also, Prime Minister Starmer said that other U.S. companies, including NVIDIA, OpenAI, Google, and Salesforce, plan to invest in AI in the U.K. Both leaders also talked about the nuclear power partnership, and they hailed the deal to build up to 12 advanced modular reactors across the UK. Later, President Trump and Prime Minister Keir Starmer held a joint press conference at Chequers. President Trump opened the press conference by affirming America's solidarity with Britain and by mentioning generations of shared sacrifice for the values of liberty and freedom. And while answering questions, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer acknowledged that he and President Trump discussed the issue of Palestinian statehood at some length during their private talks, but President Trump acknowledged that the two leaders have a disagreement on the subject.
We discussed this, amongst other things. We had the best part of an hour, I think, upstairs earlier today, just one-to-one, going through a number of affairs, world affairs, in private. And we absolutely agree on the need for peace and a roadmap, because the situation in Gaza is intolerable. The hostages have been held for a very, very long time, and they must be freed. And we need aid to get into Gaza at speed. And so it's within that context of a plan for peace, which we're working hard on, which not only did we discuss this morning, but our two teams have been working together on. The question of recognition needs to be seen. And so it's part of that overall package which hopefully takes us from the appalling situation we're in now to the outcome of a safe and secure Israel, which we do not have, and a viable Palestinian state. Thank you.
We have to remember October 7th, one of the worst, most violent days in the history of the world. Not just there, the history of the world. And I got to see the tapes, and I wish I didn't see them, actually. But I got to see them. And I want an end. I want the hostages released. And I think it's going to be okay. But it has been a brutal period of time. But this has been going on for a long time. This is not something that's over the last year, 2 years. This has been for decades and decades. But we want it to end. We have to have the hostages back immediately. That's what the people of Israel want. They want them back. And we want the fighting to stop. And it's going to stop. But a lot of bad things. You know, Hamas said that they're going to put the hostages up as bait. They're going to put the hostages in front of any attack. And that's pretty brutal. We haven't heard that one in a long time. So we have to remember that. So I have a disagreement with the Prime Minister on that score. Okay? One of our few disagreements, actually.
If you feel so strongly about officially recognizing Palestine for statehood, why are you waiting for President Trump to leave the country? Why can't you just do it right now? And isn't there a risk in rewarding Hamas with that?
Well, let me be really clear about Hamas. They're a terrorist organisation who can have no part in any future governance in Palestine. And what happened on October the 7th was the worst attack since the Holocaust. We have extended family in Israel. I understand firsthand the psychological impact that that had across Israel. Okay. On the question of recognition, I made my position clear at the end of July as to the timing, which has got nothing to do with this state visit, and I've discussed it with the President, as you would expect amongst two leaders who respect each other and like each other and want to bring about a better solution.
President Trump said that the U.S. is trying to get the Bagram airbase back from the Taliban in Afghanistan.
They just went through the Afghanistan total disaster for no reason whatsoever. We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to leave it with strength and dignity. And we're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, that one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. So a lot of things are happening.
Meanwhile, early this morning, President Trump announced on True Social that he has formally designated Antifa as a terrorist organization. Also, President Trump said that he strongly recommended anyone funding the group be investigated. During the Senate hearing where FBI Director Kash Patel testified, Senator Ted Cruz also encouraged Patel to follow the money.
I want to encourage you in the course of this investigation absolutely go after anyone who aided and abetted. But I want to more broadly encourage you, follow the money. The violence we are seeing is not purely organic. There is, I believe, significant money that is spreading dissension, that is spreading violence. Antifa. Do you believe Antifa is a terrorist organization?
I believe Antifa is associated with a lot of violence in this country. As to its designation, I'll leave that to the appropriate authorities.
So I would encourage the administration to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, to go systematically after Antifa. They've committed acts of violence all over the country.
Antifa was initially part of the front operations by the Soviet Union to bring about a communist dictatorship in Germany, and it worked to label all rival parties as fascist. The organization can be traced back to 1921 and to the United Front of the Communist International under the Soviet Union in Russia. To trigger a communist revolution, the United Front strategy aimed to bring together left-wing organizations. The Soviets believed that after the Russian Revolution in 1917, communism would spread next to Germany, since Germany had the second largest communist party. In the United States, Antifa gained popularity among far-left activists after President Trump was elected in 2016, and President Trump first raised the idea of designating Antifa as a terrorist organization back in 2020. Yesterday, Ryan Morrow, who was an investigative researcher for the Capital Research Center, published an exclusive report about the Open Societies Foundation that is owned by George Soros. Based on the report, since 2016, the Open Society Foundations, which is now run by George Soros' son Alexander, has poured over $80 million into groups that are tied to terrorism or extremist violence.
According to George Soros' own files from his Open Society Foundations, so myself, my colleagues at Capital Research Center, basically went through as many grants of his, as many funding streams as we could find. And here's the smoking guns that we believe that President Trump, if he's informed of it, can use to go after Soros' network of hate in various ways. We traced over $80 million going from the Open Society Foundations to at least 54 groups engaged in crime, and domestic terrorism on U.S. soil, or that are pro-terrorism, endorsing things like the October 7th attacks, or are associated with foreign terrorist organizations or explicitly pro-terror groups. And this is according to his own files, so it's rock solid. And over all of that amount, over 23 million went to at least 7 groups that are doing things that meet the FBI's definition of domestic terrorism, including rioting and things like that.
According to the report, these groups include the Center for Third World Organizing and its militant partner, the Ruckus Society. Morrow reported that these are the groups that trained activists in property destruction and sabotage during the 2020 riots. Morrow also said that Open Society helped fund the Sunrise Movement. This is a movement that endorsed the Antifa-linked Stop Cop City campaign. The Stop Cop City campaign is a movement where activists are now confronted with more than 40 domestic terrorism charges and 60 racketeering indictments. Yesterday, ABC announced that it will indefinitely stop airing Jimmy Kimmel Live shows after Jimmy Kimmel made remarks about Charlie Kirk's assassination that have drawn criticism from the Federal Communications Commission head. So, how did this happen? During a recent show, Kimmel talked about Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin, Tyler Robinson, and said, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang, desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it." Kimmel's comments drew criticism from Federal Communications Commission Chairman Brendan Carr. Yesterday, Carr had an interview with Benny Johnson. During the interview, Carr shared his thoughts about Kimmel's monologue.
In what appears to be an action by Jimmy Kimmel to play into that narrative that this was somehow a MAGA or Republican motivated person. If that's what happened here with his conduct, what people don't understand is that the broadcasters, and you've gotten this right, are entirely different than people that use other forms of communication. They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Carr said that the FCC has a strong case to pursue action against Kimmel, ABC, and parent company Disney for spreading politically motivated misinformation. He said the FCC could make a strong argument that this is sort of an intentional effort to mislead the American people about a very core fundamental fact, a very important matter. Carr also suggested that broadcasters who air Jimmy Kimmel Live could face investigation, fines, or license revocation. In response, Nexstar Media Group Incorporated said that it would stop airing the show on its 32 ABC affiliate stations. So Carr posted on X and thanked Nexstar for doing the right thing. Carr wrote, "Local broadcasters have an obligation to serve the public interest. While this may be an unprecedented decision, it is important for broadcasters to push back on Disney programming that they determine falls short of community values. I hope that other broadcasters follow Nexstar's lead." Then ABC announced it will indefinitely stop airing Jimmy Kimmel Live shows. Also, Media Group Sinclair announced that its ABC stations will air a special commemorating Charlie Kirk during the Jimmy Kimmel Live time slot. The cancellation of the show drew different reactions from both sides. In a post on X, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wrote, "America is meant to be a bastion of free speech. Everybody across the political spectrum should be speaking out to stop what's happening to Jimmy Kimmel." But President Trump praised the decision by ABC and said, "Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done." Yesterday, a Utah sheriff provided more details on the arrest of Tyler Robinson and said that the suspect was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby said that he was called by a retired law enforcement officer who had worked with him and who knew the family of Tyler Robinson. According to that retired law enforcement officer, the Robinson family wanted Tyler Robinson to voluntarily surrender. So the retired officer then drove Tyler Robinson and his parents to the sheriff's office within an hour of the call. Brooksby also said that Tyler Robinson was fearful of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible to make him feel comfortable, to where he would show up at my office. Meanwhile, Brooksby suggested that the Robinson family stay out of the public eye for a while due to threats. Brooksby also denied online claims that Tyler Robinson's father was a deputy or had personally handcuffed his son. Brooksby said that the retired deputy who alerted him about Tyler Robinson has the same first and last name as Robinson's father. And that's why it is mistakenly reported that his father was a veteran of the sheriff's department. And today, Turning Point USA announced that its board unanimously agreed to appoint Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, as the new chair and CEO.
My wife joins us, Erica Kirk,
Hi,
the beautiful,
everyone.
legendary Erica.
I love you so much.
I love you.
You're my best friend.
Welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. We have asked the audience for questions. You pick one.
Who is more conservative and why?
Erica,
Yes.
by far. Not even close. I am a moderate compared to Erica.
Andrew always jokes that once you got married to me, you got more based.
That's true. That is true. No, Erica is very conservative. Do you
So-
think having kids made you more conservative?
100%. Which I didn't think was possible. But 100%. Absolutely.
And do you
And
think
a better wife.
And the Senate just voted unanimously to establish October 14th, Charlie Kirk's birthday, as National Charlie Kirk Day. Yesterday, 5 police officers were shot and 3 were killed in a shooting in York County, Pennsylvania. The 2 injured officers were rushed to a hospital where they remain in critical but stable condition. And hospital officials confirm that enhanced security protocols are in place. According to Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner Colonel Christopher Paris, the gunman was killed by police. Paris added that authorities know who they are and who they work for, but he did not comment on the motive. Paris said that the shooting took place as officers were following up on a domestic-related investigation that started on Tuesday. Attorney General Pam Bondi condemned the violence on X. She said that violence against law enforcement is a scourge on our society and never acceptable. FBI Director Kash Patel also said that agents are on the ground, and he sent prayers to the officers, their families, and the York County community. The shooting came just after a driver rammed a car into an FBI security gate at the Pittsburgh Bureau office yesterday early in the morning. The FBI said that it was a targeted attack, which may have been an act of terror against the Bureau. Charlie Kirk possessed a profound understanding of the dangers of communism. So why did his death provoke such a strong reaction worldwide? It's because it was an attack on the traditional values and freedom of speech that Charlie Kirk championed. Meanwhile, the Chinese Communist Party has spent decades relentlessly undermining traditional culture, brainwashing its people, and suppressing free speech. Recently, a massive leak of core technical documents from the Chinese Communist Party's Great Firewall has revealed that Chinese companies have established comprehensive cyber surveillance systems across multiple countries in South Asia, West Asia, and Africa, while they are also participating in the construction of regional firewalls within China. The Great Firewall in China actually prohibits people in China from accessing information from outside of China. A comprehensive network control system spanning provincial to national levels, both domestically and internationally, is taking shape. The leak originated from Gauge Networks Limited, which is a key technical force behind the Great Firewall. The disclosed materials include complete source code, detailed operational logs, internal communication records, and specific project documentation related to collaborations with multiple national governments. Documents reveal that the key figure behind the export of Great Firewall technology is Fang Bin Xin, known as the father of the Great Firewall. In late 2008, he established the National Engineering Laboratory for Information Content Security. His team was named the MESA, Massive Effective Stream Analysis Team. Geej Networks Limited was founded by Fang, who serves as its chief scientist. The company's core R&D personnel primarily originated from the MESA laboratory. Leaked documents reveal the powerful capabilities of the Geej product suite. The company's flagship product, the Tianguo Security Gateway, features deep packet inspection, real-time monitoring, traffic throttling injection, and modification capabilities. It can attribute network traffic to real identities and identify and block VPN tools. The system not only monitors internet traffic but also intercepts phone calls, establishing a comprehensive communications surveillance network. This unprecedented document leak not only reveals the internal operational mechanisms of China's Great Firewall project, but more significantly, it exposes how these technologies are exported overseas through frameworks like the Chinese Communist Party's Belt and Road Initiative, providing cyber surveillance and censorship capabilities to multiple governments. According to leaked documents, Geej has provided technical services to at least 5 countries: Kazakhstan, Ethiopia, Myanmar, Pakistan, and an undisclosed nation identified only by the code name A24. These nations are identified by code names throughout the leaked materials, typically composed of the country's initial letter followed by a 2-digit year. So feel free to use your imagination and guess which country A24 might be. The 24 likely represents the year 2024. The Chinese Communist Party employs different approaches to exporting its influence and distinct characteristics of cooperation with these countries. Kazakhstan was among Geej's first clients after its establishment. Starting in 2019, the Kazakh government began utilizing the company's technology. The primary selling point when Geej initially approached the Kazakh government was its middleman attack capabilities. The middleman attack refers to an attacker secretly intercepting and potentially tampering with communications between a user and a server without either party's knowledge. In Myanmar, Geej has achieved the most comprehensive deployment. The company's hardware has been installed in the server rooms of all Myanmar internet service providers. Myanmar ISP Frontier had previously denied involvement in any surveillance projects. However, leaked documents clearly show that Geej equipment is indeed deployed in all Myanmar ISP facilities, including Frontier. The documents also contain all ISP link test reports. Myanmar's VPN blocking list is longer than those of other client countries. Documents detail the process of establishing high-priority application blocking rules covering 55 apps, including Signal and WhatsApp. And in Ethiopia, Geej began operations in 2021, partnering with local telecom operator Safaricom to deploy surveillance equipment in its regional data centers. Leaked documents reveal that this occurred in February 2023 during nationwide anti-government protests in Ethiopia. Geej's experts were called upon to address issues related to social media platforms such as YouTube and Twitter. As a result, these platforms were blocked. In Pakistan, Geej replaced Canadian company Sandvine in 2023. Sandvine faced U.S. sanctions for facilitating human rights abuses. But Gige's actions are even more egregious than Sandvine's. Not only does it leverage existing Sandvine installations, but it also provides new technology to power Pakistan's web monitoring system, called WMS 2.0. A senior Pakistani ISP executive stated that WMS 2.0 is deployed not only at the national internet gateway, but also in the local data centers of mobile service providers and ISPs. Gige's Sanity Directory possesses the capability to attribute online activities to specific SIM cards. Since 2015, Pakistan has mandated that every new SIM card issued to mobile users must be registered under a specific username and linked to biometric data that is registered through the National Database and Registration Authority. This means that every action and conversation conducted on mobile phones there is under surveillance. Notably, the leaked documents reveal detailed information about Gige's in-depth research into firewall circumvention technologies. The company purchased VPN accounts and operated a cluster of mobile devices with VPN applications installed specifically for studying their network behavior. Gige employs reverse engineering techniques by analyzing decompiled application source code to identify APIs. Simultaneously, it analyzes network traffic while users run VPN applications to identify patterns that can be used for blocking. Even more alarming is that the Gige system can detect new VPN endpoints by observing the behavior of previously known VPN users. Once a specific individual is identified as a known VPN user, the system can track their internet usage and flag any future unknown high bandwidth traffic as suspicious, thereby identifying and blocking previously unrecognized services. Leaked documents reveal the astonishing scope of Gige's technological capabilities. Beyond traditional deep packet inspection and blocking capabilities, the company's TSG system also possesses the ability to inject and modify traffic streams. This functionality can be leveraged for blocking purposes or to infect users with malware. The system can modify HTTP sessions in real time, enabling the insertion of malicious code into files transmitted over the network. And it supports real-time modification of multiple file formats. Even more shocking is that Gige developed a system called DLL Active Defense, which is essentially a platform for launching DDoS attacks against websites deemed politically undesirable. By exploiting TSG's online injection capabilities, this system effectively recruits innocent users' computers to participate in attacks forming a botnet. You might think that these technologies are currently being used in countries and regions far away that have little to do with our daily lives. But there are no borders on the internet. In recent years, there have been also multiple instances of Chinese hackers launching cyber attacks against the United States. The infiltration of communism into Europe has already shown us that the space for free speech is shrinking in Europe. All these changes should serve as a warning to us and to be resisted. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember to leave a comment below the video. This is really helping us to be seen all around the world. The more people who watch Front Page, the more freedom-loving people the world will have. And please hit the like button and hit the notification bell after subscribing. And please share this video with your friends and family because everybody deserves to know the truth.